Euphoria is back, and it is back with a bang. A show that produces a whole lot of boundary-pushing content, including bloodshed, drug abuse, sexual and otherwise, violence, and some serious male nudity, is at it again. Fans of the show have been excited about the show's return, but we are here today to talk about how the new season's sex scene managed to flip the script on Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones in Euphoria? Well, it's been done before, all thanks to Kat's elaborate fantasies. Game of Thrones Easter eggs in Season 1 of Euphoria. If you're a stan of both shows, you must have noticed this already, but in case you didn't, well, that is why we are here. In the first season of Euphoria, there's an episode dedicated to Kat and her life, as well as her journey to becoming a cam girl who is super confident and owns and loves her body for what it looks like. This happens because of an inappropriate video of Kat's leaking. In episode 3 of Season 1, titled Made You Look, it is revealed that Kat has a seriously sick online presence. However, being judged for her size, she's always bullied and belittled at her school. This causes her to fear that if her fans online ever knew what she really looked like, they would disown her and cancel her too. The first Easter egg appears when a fan of Kat's tells her that they envision her to look like Khaleesi, or Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones, indicating that the show holds importance in Kat's life. The next Easter egg is revealed when Kat is thinking about how if her fans online knew how terribly her school had rejected her, they'd stop at nothing to come and rescue her. And so enters a horde of Dothraki warriors, slashing throats and shoving spears into people's chests, only to rescue their queen. When enters a man who resembles Khal Drogo from the series. He even attempts to speak Dothrakian, and upon finding out what Kat looks like, proceeds to attack her. That was the first time we saw him. Super Hot Warrior Man? Yep, that's his actual name in the show. Next, Season 2 of Euphoria has new Game of Thrones Easter eggs. The show has mentioned Game of Thrones in a big way yet again, but unlike last time, it has managed to poke fun at the mostly male-dominated show in quite a clever way. This time, the show has brought back Brock O'Hearn's Super Hot Warrior Man in the nude, as Kat, played by the exceptional Barbie Ferreira, is wrapped up with Ethan, portrayed by Austin Abrams, in a rather lame makeout session. Kat, in her cat manner, begins to fantasize about her fictional romance, which is actually way more intense than her romance with her boyfriend. If we are being honest, what she has with Super Hot Warrior Man is how she sees her ideal relationship being. So as Ethan gets up to use the bathroom, he's impaled by something or someone, and he falls down to the floor with blood gushing out of his chest. Surprising how all of Kat's fantasies always involve way more bloodshed than might be required. As Ethan dies, a strong, muscular, shirtless man appears on the screen with all of his glory hanging proudly. Kat lets out a very loud gasp, and the man comes in to sweep his queen off her feet. It makes sense that the creative team went with the theme of Game of Thrones Easter eggs, making it into a running joke. Now, we look into Euphoria poking fun at Game of Thrones. The reason why we believe that the scene was meant to flip the script on Game of Thrones is because of the way the scene is being portrayed. The moment back in Season 1 when Kat's imagination ran amok and ended up giving a Game of Thrones-esque crossover scene for us to cherish. And yes, even this time, the way that Super Hot Warrior Man enters the scene is from a place of utter power, as he impales the boyfriend of his ideal woman and then tells her that he plans on using a different kind of sword on her. He then does end up using his sword on her in an extremely intense manner, one that reminds the truly traumatized of the scenes that Drogo shared with Daenerys on GOT. However, it does not matter what it is that he is doing to Kat, but he is not conquering our queen at all, despite what he believes. Why? Because Kat is actually the one in control here. It's Kat's fantasy. In Kat's imagination, super hot warrior man possesses all of the qualities that depict a strong alpha male presence, what with his perfectly sculpted abs and other muscles, and a rather intimidating, girthy thing. Even though this man is the dominant partner in the scene, while she takes it all quite submissively, Kat is actually fully in control of the narrative, because the entire power that this man possesses comes from Kat's horn dog of an imagination. She created him. And mind you, this is the very memory that Kat has embellished as she talked to her friends while in the school's bathroom. The parallel that they have drawn here with Game of Thrones is obviously deliberate. Those of you who have watched the fantasy drama know that GOT is known to not only showcase instances of female nudity as an attempt to over-sexualize them, but it also depicts the women in the series as powerless, as if they're victims of absolute cruelty and are powerless when it comes to sex. Unnecessary violence against women sets the general tone of the show. On the other hand, Euphoria quite literally flipped the narrative, objectifying the mighty warrior and having him reveal all that he has to offer, ensuring that the focus is on his physical features and the fact that he exists only to please a queen. Euphoria also reverses the role of casual female nudity and objectification onto its head. The show has been taking charge and changing the overall narrative that is all too common in TV shows and movies. Even in the year 2022, the season premiere for the show's second season began with a loud bang, displaying a slaughterhouse's worth of meat on screen, restructuring the concept of male nudity. They did that by switching the narrative of the male form being portrayed as a representation of power and manliness into something that can become a joke and can be laughed at. The show managed to do that in season 1 as well, with Kat becoming a cam girl and experiencing her first ever encounter with a man with a tiny member who liked being made fun of and humiliated. This time, they did it in a big way. This time, the show managed to expose how weak and vulnerable the male form can make a man seem, rather than giving them more reinforcement for believing that they are all powerful and glorious. Right when the new season begins, Fez's grandmother interrupts his father getting his knob polished by shooting him in the chest twice. The way that the scene unfolded would have shocked the viewers without having exposed male genitalia shoved in our faces. Yet the creative team for the show made a conscious decision of putting a lot of focus on the man's ding-dong, while fully erect, completely throwing the viewers off as it flails about while the man screams in pain, as if things needed to get worse, but they do, when the blood from the man's wound manages to splash onto his erect member. Euphoria Season 2 not coming in slow. Oops! The season premiere for Euphoria's second season became the most talked about episode on HBO ever since the terrible, absolutely disappointing finale of Game of Thrones. We wonder if it had anything to do with the switch up that the show is managing to make into a reality by displaying full frontal male nudity. It would be a gross understatement to say that the show is not holding back this new season at all. The show has so far had 3 episodes, and they have all been equally incredible, causing audiences to helplessly get hooked onto the new storylines it is exploring this time around. The show's been packed with drama. Zendaya's Rue has relapsed. Fez, played by Angus Cloud, has beaten Jacob Elordi's Nate down to a pulp. And there's the classic love triangle involving Nate with Cassie and Maddie, played by Sydney Sweeney and Alexa Demie. The latest released episode of the show gives fans a history lesson about the life of Cal Jacobs, played by Elias Kakavas. The episode is actually significant because Cal is the first adult on the show to have been given a backstory so far. It dives into why Cal is the way he is today and what kind of situations he went through in his life as a teenager. The episode lays out the obsessive feelings that Cal had towards his best friend Derek, portrayed by Henry Eikenberry, and it is really interesting to watch his story unfold because it adds texture to his personality and growing storyline, which is helpful because his character seems to keep getting layered more and more into the stories of the kids as the show moves forward. That's a wrap for this video. See you in the next one.